Hi, my name's Keziah Gibbons. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the founder of the Guided by Keziah app. And this is this week's tarot reading for the week ahead. So, magician season is almost on us. And for those of you who don't know, The Magician is my signature course, beginner to intermediate course on the tarot. And it's a tarot intensive, it's a tarot for life, it's a transformational experience. Over 13 live workshops. I'm very excited that the first season, with the first 3 workshops, starts on June the 17th. And the reason I mention this is because that is what this week's spread is inspired by. So in this reading, we have 4 cards. The first is the Magician themselves. So the Magician is the first card in the major arcana of the tarot, and often shows a figure, arms, one stretched up to the sky and the other down to the ground. So they are in this space of connection between heaven and earth. They are forming that bridge between heaven and earth. And the magician is someone who can create their own reality and who has all the resources they need. And in the context of this spread, the magician represents how you show up this week. So you can be the magician this week. So this is you as the magician this week. So that's our first position. And then the first 3 workshops in the magician cycle, each workshop has a theme which is relevant in life. So the first one is manifesting. So we have this position here of manifesting. How do we manifest? What do we manifest this week? The next one is creativity. So we have this position here of creativity. How can we engage and build our creativity this week? And then the third is emotional balance. So how can we stay emotionally balanced this week? So this week I am reading with the Modern Witch Tarot. I know it's a favourite, by Lisa Sterle, published by Liminal 11. And it's one of my favourite decks, actually. It's very close to the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's very much inspired by it and based on it, but I just like it a lot more. It is more modern, it is more diverse. It's a lovely deck to work with, and I know that people, they see these cards in the readings and they see themselves in them. I know that people have told me that before after the reading, so it's a joy to read with. So take a deep breath and just set your intention to receive what you need. And if there is something you've been working on or working with this week, then you may bring that to mind now and just allow any insights to come to you over the course of this reading. Okay, so the first position then, the magician. How can you show up this week at your most magician-like? And look at this, it is a major arcana card. We've got the Hermit. So the Hermit is not the card that I would immediately say is most like the magician, but I can see the magic in the Hermit. The Hermit often goes off on their own to do their magic. They often are working internally. I have often said that if there is a meditation card in the tarot, the Hermit would be that card. But one thing that the Hermit does is that by doing that own work, they shine a light. You see here, there's a star and a kind of shining talisman around the Hermit's neck. They shine a light which guides other people. And other things that you might notice in this image are you've got the lovely window there, denoting that the space the Hermit is in is sacred space. and the laptop, which is either being opened or closed. So when you open your laptop, you have access to all the knowledge in the world, maybe not all the wisdom, but all the knowledge. And when you close your laptop, you can start to come back to yourself and become more present. So, it's your choice whether you open or close that laptop. But in terms of this position of the magician, how can you show up as the magician or at your most magician-like this week? This is a reminder to tend to yourself, tend to your internal practice, maybe do some meditation, carve out some space for yourself, but really follow your own spiritual path and tend to your own spiritual seeking. And that just by doing the work with yourself, that will have impact on those around you. I'm reminded of a study, actually, one of my favourite studies about gratitude, which showed that people who engaged in a gratitude practice not only became happier within themselves, but they started to engage in more of what's called pro-social behaviours. So being nice and kind to the people around them. And that these pro-social behaviours then had a ripple effect that went out quite far. So they impacted more than just the immediate people in their vicinity. And that is this, that as we tend to ourselves, to our personal practice, stick to our values, then we do have that ripple effect. So it is really important to start with ourselves when we want to show up as magicians. Manifesting then, how and what is available to manifest this week. It's another major arcana card. We've got the Sun. So I'd just actually like to contrast those two cards, because we have the Hermit, it's very much about going inwards, and then we have the Sun, which is very much about going outwards. So in terms of this position of manifestation, it's almost like the Sun is saying, just go for it, go. You have here a child on a horse, they're waving this big flag, they're out there in the sunshine, they're visible, they're taking up space, the sunflowers are there, they're turned towards the sun itself is there shining down. So very much a card of kind of being seen, which in this position of manifesting then, be honest about what you want. Be honest firstly with yourself. What do you want to manifest or to create or to attract? And then dare to state it, because at some point everything is interrelated, and all people or beings are interrelated. And if you do not communicate what you want, what you need, what your objectives are, what you're trying to do, at some point someone is not going to know, who might have been willing to help you, might have had the same objective, might have made things a lot easier. So here is a card that's saying really, be honest with yourself and then those around you about what do you want, what are you trying to manifest, to create in your reality this week, and let it be seen and let that take up space. It's a lovely, joyful card. Then we have creativity. How can you engage with and connect with your creativity this week? Okay, so another major arcana card. I love this. And we have the Hanged One. And here we see this figure who is upside down, hanging by one leg. And you see that aura around their head as well. So that implies that this is a spiritual practice. And there are three messages which the Hanged One usually has for us. So one is about just a change in perspective. So the Hanged One is the only card in the deck which is right way up when it's upside down, but it's right way up in this reading, which means it's upside down. So sometimes it can just be about your perspective. So if you're trying to engage or awaken or remember your creativity this week, then take another perspective, whether that's literal, You know, whether you go and do some upside down practice, put your legs up the wall or a tree, or whether that is about taking other people's perspectives, imagining or experiencing life from the point of view of a non-human being. I mean, there are so many different ways to take another perspective, a completely different perspective. So that is the first message that this card has for us. The second is to stop and pause and surrender. So this person, in order to be there and comfortable, has to really accept and surrender where they are. And they're not going anywhere at the moment, they're stopped. So allow yourself to surrender to your creative process and to be where you are. So for anyone who is feeling a bit blocked creatively, it can happen sometimes, just, you know, surrendering into that and relaxing into that might be the key to unblocking and just kind of allowing yourself to be where you are. And then the third really big meaning in this card is about sacrifice. So and what I always say is, like, a sacrifice isn't a sacrifice if you're not giving up something that matters to you. So in terms of your creativity, what are you willing to give up in order to engage your creativity? And so that might be time, that might be energy, that could be money, it could be space, it could be your physical energy or your mental attention. So to really engage your creativity, you have to offer something up for it. So those are the messages there from the Hanged One. And then finally, emotional balance. How can we reach emotional balance this week? And we have the Page of Cups. So the Page of Cups is a young or inexperienced court card. So this can be about having a beginner's mind, engaging with your inner child or even with children around you. And the Page of Cups, the cups is all about the emotions, the heart. So really kind of, this is an invitation to examine your emotions anew. So it's very appropriate that this comes up in this position of emotional balance. You know, how do you reach emotional balance this week? This card very clearly says, by meeting your emotions each time as if they're new. So as if that is something that you, even if it's something that you felt 1,000 times before, and sometimes those are the worst, because then we kind of go into an automatic process, and that might be a spiral, that might be a story we tell ourselves, whatever that is. We don't need to do that automatic process. Actually, if we meet each emotion that comes up anew, afresh, with this beginner's mind, and just kind of examine it, we don't have to love it, maybe we will, but just kind of examine it, then that can give us, again, a fresh perspective. And that is the way towards balance with our emotions, to kind of meet them fresh, meet them new, and allow that to be part of your process this week. So that is our reading for the week ahead. In summary, we have the Hermit in the position of Magician, we have the Sun in the position of manifesting, we have the Hanged One in the position of creativity, and we have the Page of Cups in the position of emotional balance. And what that tells us is, firstly, we can impact the world by impacting ourselves. This is a wonderful piece of magic that many of you will already know. We can manifest by being very honest and open and allowing what we wish to manifest to take up space in our own lives and in the world. We can show up with our stated objective. Yeah. Creativity, the Hanged One, new perspectives, acceptance and sacrifice, and then the Page of Cups there in emotional balance. We can achieve balance emotionally this week by meeting our emotions as if they're new. So that's this week's reading. If you would like to know more about the Magician workshop cycle, you can find all that information in the Guided by Keziah app, and the workshops are included when you subscribe to Guided. So I believe that's very good value. A little bit of magic I like to put out into the world. And if it's right for you, if it's time for you to become the magician and to deepen your tarot journey, then I'm sure that I will see you there. Either way, have a wonderful week ahead. Take really good care. Thank you.